Tonight, huh? I'm hitting Diamond 1 on rank tonight on Siege.
What that mean?
Mess with me.
What that mean?
If you know, you know.
What that mean?
You know, you know.
Guess I don't know. Huh? What is that?
No idea.
Huh?
Ah! Hey! On his head! Ain't that what they do?
Alright guys, so one of you sent me an email this morning that reminded me of a story that I had wanted to talk about, but I had forgotten, okay? And this is a reminder of how appreciative I am of you guys when you do send me stories, because it gives me new ideas, or it reminds me of stories that I've already kind of picked up on, but I forgot about, right? Because I do so many videos a day, some stories I just don't get to, right, in a day. So with that being said, this story right here has went under the radar because it doesn't fit the narrative. And in my opinion, you know, if this was a situation that was reversed in regards to race, this wouldn't be the case, as it involves LeBron James's iPromise school, and allegedly a white teenager was beaten to death by 3 other black teenagers while another woman watched outside of that school in the parking lot near the basketball courts. Now, this has left the family looking for answers, and they have spoken out a lot about this, as they're looking for more details surrounding their son's death. And apparently LeBron James has been silent about this. Nobody's really saying anything about it. It hasn't really been a major news story, even though I think that, again, if the situations was reversed racially, I think this story would be much bigger. So without further ado, let's actually go ahead and play a news clip on this incident so that you guys can get a better understanding of what's going on here. Take a look.
We have new details tonight about the death of a 17-year-old in Akron. Police shared what they believe happened in the moments leading up to Ethan Liming's death and the role a toy gun may have played. Tonight, our Isabel Lawrence sits down with Ethan Liming's father, what he says about his son and the changes he wants made.
He was my sidekick ever since he was little.
A father-son duo. Bill Liming describes his 17-year-old son Ethan as smart, loyal, and with an arm like a cannon. A rising senior at Firestone CLC in Akron, Ethan was already excited about college.
We just joked around. I was like, Ethan, you just have to make it through one more year. And it didn't happen.
Ethan was killed, brutally beaten to death.
Like, we are forever broken. We're forever broken.
Ethan Liming did not deserve to die that night.
According to police, the night of June 2nd, a group of 4 juveniles, including Ethan, pulled up in the parking lot of the iPromise school near the basketball courts. At least 2 of them got out and started shooting this, a splatter ball water bead blaster gel gun in the direction of a group of 4 people playing basketball.
My son died because of a toy. And for being just goofing around as a teenager.
The gun, labeled for ages 14 and up, shoots beads soaked in water which burst on contact. Eventually, a confrontation occurred.
Ethan Liming is assaulted and a fight ensues.
Ethan didn't make it. Police are following leads and hope to identify suspects soon. They said as of right now, there is no indication race played a role. Ethan's family desperately wants answers.
We're in a sick world, but we can figure this out and we can make this a better place. And I just wish Ethan would have been a part of that better place.
Now, Ethan's father told me his son was so loved, and that's clear when you take a look at the memorial behind me here at the baseball field outside of his high school. Now, police today wanted to dispel any rumors that race somehow played a role in this incident. They call the investigation active still and fluid, and we're grateful for the community members who have come forward with information. But tonight, police and Ethan's family begging anyone who knows anything to please share and get answers, Laura.
All right, clearly a lot more to this story. Isabel, thank you.
Yeah, so that was a very tragic situation. Obviously, you know, this father lost his son to what appears to be an incident in which his son was involved in what you would define as horseplay. Okay, maybe he had these toy water guns or whatever, and they was shooting them at, you know, some people in the parking lot or whatever. I have no idea. I'm just going off what the news clip says and what I've read about the situation. And apparently that may have led to a fight in which his son got, you know, unfortunately involved and beat to death. Okay. Again, it's a tragic, horrible situation. Okay. That you think about as a teenager, right? Even when I was a teenager, I used to do some stupid stuff like that, right? Like I remember one time, me and my friends took some airsoft guns and went out to a field by our school and was shooting each other with the airsoft guns, right? Out there in the field. Okay, and there was like a major road like right there. So people were driving by in cars watching us outside with what looked to be like real guns shooting each other, right? Again, very stupid, right? Extremely stupid looking back at it, right? But again, that's not a situation in which, you know, a teenager obviously should lose their lives. Teenagers do stupid stuff like that all the time. Okay, it shouldn't result in anybody getting beat to death. And again, the family is looking for answers in regards to more information about what happened during this incident, because there's a lot of things that we don't know, and it's unclear if the suspects have really even been identified in regards to who did this. Now, the father of Mr. Ethan Liming is saying that his son was murdered by 3 African-American males and a woman who stood by and did nothing. Okay. Now the Akron police aren't calling it a murder. They're also saying that race didn't play a factor as well, or they're saying there's no evidence that race played a factor. So again, they're taking a very kind of conservative approach to what happened here. So the question is, what is LeBron James's response to all this? Because this did happen in the parking lot of his school, right? It happened in the parking lot of school. And who knows, maybe a student from his school was involved, whether it be the friends of the student that got beat to death or the kids that beat Ethan Liming to death. Maybe they went to the iPromise school. We really don't know. But you would expect that LeBron James would be looking for answers, just like the family is looking for answers. However, that's not the case. As LeBron James has gone silent, absolutely silent on this issue. He has nothing to say whatsoever, and that leaves me with a whole lot of questions because this is not very characteristic of LeBron James, right? LeBron James is usually very outspoken on issues like this, and considering how this involved his school and kids and an incident that may or may not have had some racial dynamic to it, you would think that at the very least he will be trying to help the family get the answers that they're looking for in regards to the circumstances surrounding their son's death. However, LeBron James could seem to care less, as he put out just one tweet only about this incident, in which he says, "Our condolences goes out to the family who lost a loved one. My heavens above watch over you during this tragedy. Pray for our community." So LeBron James basically gave thoughts and prayers, right, in response to this situation. Now, again, people like him, whom routinely speak out when it comes to certain issues, for example, like the Uvalde mass shooting, people like him say thoughts and prayers are not enough, right? You have to take action when people tragically lose their lives. But in this situation, he, for whatever reason, believes that thoughts and prayers are enough. Now, again, this was June 3rd. Today is June 9th, and we haven't heard anything from LeBron James about this, okay? But he's been posting, you know, videos and all types of other stuff on his Instagram and social media of him, you know, playing with his sons and having a good old time and doing this and doing that, which, you know, hey, I get it, I understand. But you would think that because this happened at his school, his community, a community he claims he cares about so much, that he would assist in the effort to find and to bring the justice to people who beat this 17-year-old kid to death. Again, that does not seem to be the case, as he's actually getting flamed for this by some of the victim's family members, right? Let's read here. As Hirsch Vita, who claims to be the kid's cousin, says, "LeBron, since this happened at your school, I expect something greater to be done than a tweet and some prayers. My cousin deserves justice for this tragedy. I hope you will do something to make this right." Apparently not. Apparently Ethan's stepmother, Cindy Cross Liming, is also pleading for help on social media and trying to spread the information. So let's read it here. She says, quote, "Everyone keeps asking what they can do to help, so here it is. Please share this post with the hopes that someone will speak up and help us find who did this. Anyone with information is asked to call the Akron Police Department Detective Bureau at 330-375-2490 or the Summit County Crime Stoppers at 330-434-COPS. You can also text TIPSCO with your tips to 274-637. Cindy wrote on June 4th. Tuesday morning, Cindy was back on Facebook begging for justice. Quote, "I know there's at least one person besides Ethan's killers who holds the key to ending this part of our nightmare," she wrote. "These posts are for you. If there is any love in your heart, seeing Ethan's face, hearing our voices and our community's voices has to be weighing heavy on your heart." Quote, "Do the right thing. You may not care about us, but coming forward will lighten your load. I know you see this. You hear our voices. You see our faces. Just make the call. You'll remain anonymous. You have nothing to lose." Okay, so I assume that she's talking to the friends of Ethan, or friends, okay, because you can't call everybody your friends, and apparently these guys are not friends, because it just wasn't him there. He was there with three other friends, who 2 were black and 1 was white, allegedly, and they fled the scene. They left, okay, after this kid got beaten to death. Again, you can't call everybody your friend, okay? So they definitely know, right? There are definitely some kids out there that know what happened, okay, and who did this, but they're not saying anything about it. So that being said, in regards to LeBron James, I know, it's unreasonable to expect LeBron James to actually solve this problem, okay? However, the issue here is that LeBron James and the influence that he has can be doing a whole lot more, right? At the very least, he could tweet. He could ask for help in regards to finding out who beat this kid to death. That's at the very least what he could do. He could post information. He could post resources. He could post all types of stuff that would help. This guy has a massive influence, and LeBron James is on top of this. Then you would think that a whole lot of other people on top of this, and who knows, maybe this would even convince the people who do know who did this, because there are people out there that do know who did this for sure. Maybe it would convince them to come out. However, he's not doing it. He's staying silent. For what reasons, we don't know. Maybe it's because he doesn't want to make his school look bad, right? Because maybe one of the people that beat this kid to death, maybe they went to the iPromise school. Who knows? But again, what I do know is that LeBron James in the past has not had any problems not waiting for more information to come out before tweeting or trying to take action. For example, with the Ma'Khia Bryant situation. Dude immediately, before even getting all the facts or anything like that, he immediately tried to dox the police officer that justifiably shot Ma'Khia Bryant to death as she was trying to stab another black girl, right? LeBron James didn't care. He came out and said, we got to take action. Okay, we got to find out who this police officer is and bring him to justice. But when it comes to this white teenager who allegedly was killed by 3 black teenagers, silence. Nothing. Nothing to be said. Do you guys think that he would be doing this if the racial roles were reversed here? If it was 3 white teenagers that beat a black teenager, first and foremost, I think more people will be calling this race-related, right? They'll be like, oh, this is an example of white supremacy, right? This is white supremacy. First and foremost, that's what they'd be saying. Second of all, LeBron James would be screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to take advantage of this, right? He would come out race crusading. He'd be at the front lines. He'd be tweeting out all types of resources, begging people. Anybody that knows, find out the 3 white supremacists that killed this young black boy. That's exactly what he'd be saying. We all know that's what he'd be saying. He would be much more concerned about it. Again, it's a shame that we live in a society, guys, again, that only cares about death and tragedy as long as it fits a certain narrative. As if this young man's life didn't matter because of his skin color. Because he didn't fit a narrative that could be taken advantage of politically. So therefore, it's not worth the time and effort to bring justice to the killers. Again, this is the same guy that thinks he's a modern day Muhammad Ali that tweeted, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, right? So he sits by idly and does nothing about a kid being murdered at his school, okay, simply because, well, I don't really like the optics, right? I don't really like, how this looks, okay? Might make the school look bad, might make, young black kids look bad. I'm going to sit this one out, right? That's LeBron James. But hey, he's not doing anything different than what the Democrat Party does, what the mainstream liberal media does. This is just what they do. This is what they do. So with that being said, I hope and pray that this family does, get justice. I hope that somebody speaks out about who committed this horrible act of violence. I can't imagine in what situation would you feel the need to beat a kid to death, right? Even over something as silly as getting shot with some fake water guns or whatever. Like, I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.